The call came at 9:47 p.m. Emma's voice was small, terrified. "Daddy, Grandma locked me in the closet. It's dark. There's something in here with me." Static. Breathing. Then nothing. I called back 17 times while my foot buried the accelerator, 90 miles per hour through suburban streets, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, my mind racing faster than the car. Why would Linda lock Emma in a closet? My ex-wife's mother had always been cold toward me. 13 years of passive-aggressive comments at family dinners, whispered conversations that stopped when I entered rooms. But this was different. I kicked in Linda's front door at 10:23 p.m. No response to my pounding, no lights except the hallway. The house felt wrong, too quiet, too still, like it was holding its breath. "Emma!" My voice echoed through the empty living room. I heard it then, a muffled sob from upstairs. I took the steps 3 at a time, found the hallway closet, locked from the outside with a padlock I didn't recognize. Industrial, new. What the hell? I drove my shoulder into the door, once, twice. The frame splintered on the third hit. Emma stumbled out, sobbing, her face streaked with tears and something else. Dust. Old dust, the kind that hasn't been disturbed in years. She wrapped her arms around my legs. "Daddy, I saw them! I saw the pictures!" My blood went cold. "What pictures, baby?" She pointed into the darkness of the closet. I pulled out my phone, turned on the flashlight, and I understood everything. The back wall of the closet wasn't a wall. It was photographs, hundreds of them, taped, pinned, layered like wallpaper in a shrine to obsession. Pictures of my daughter, but not recent ones. These were from before she was born. Ultrasound images I'd never seen, hospital bracelets, a birth certificate with a name that wasn't Emma's, medical records from a pregnancy I didn't know about. And in the center, protected in a plastic sleeve, a photograph of Linda, younger, pregnant, standing next to a man I didn't recognize. The date on the corner, March 1987. 38 years ago. My hands started shaking. I heard footsteps behind me. "You weren't supposed to bring her here." Linda's voice, flat, emotionless. I turned slowly. She stood in the hallway, still in her nightgown. Her eyes weren't angry. They were empty. "What is this?" I kept my voice steady, cold. I needed answers. "My daughter," Linda whispered. "My Emma. She was supposed to be mine." The officer arrived 14 minutes later. I'd already taken photos of everything, called my lawyer, recorded Linda's confession on my phone as she stood there, unraveling. She told me everything, how she'd lost a daughter at birth in 1987, how the grief had broken something inside her, how when Jessica, her other daughter, gave birth to Emma, Linda had seen it as a second chance, how she'd been slowly, methodically trying to replace me, poisoning Jessica against me during the divorce, feeding Emma lies about why mommy and daddy split, volunteering for every babysitting opportunity, every sleepover, every weekend visit, building her own private world where Emma was hers. The closet was her planning room, her shrine, her sanctuary, and tonight Emma had found it while looking for blankets, so Linda locked her inside, to keep the secret, to keep her daughter. The officer, a young guy, maybe 25, went pale when he saw the closet. "Jesus Christ," he whispered. He radioed for backup, child services, a detective. Linda didn't resist, didn't speak. She just stood there while they handcuffed her, staring at Emma with those hollow eyes, like she was memorizing her, like she thought she'd never see her again. She was right. Jessica showed up 40 minutes later. She'd been at her boyfriend's place, hadn't answered when I called, didn't know her mother had Emma for the night. When I showed her the photographs, I watched something die behind her eyes. "I didn't know," she kept saying. "I swear I didn't know." I believed her, but it didn't matter anymore. The detective took our statements, explained that Linda would be charged with unlawful restraint of a minor, child endangerment, possibly more depending on the psych evaluation. Emma fell asleep in my arms around 2 a.m. I carried her to my car, buckled her in, drove home in silence. 3 weeks later, the full investigation report arrived. Linda had been planning this for years. Therapy records showed she'd never recovered from her first daughter's death. She'd been seeing Emma as a replacement since birth, had been slowly manipulating Jessica, isolating me, positioning herself as Emma's real parent. The closet was her planning room, her shrine, her sanctuary. And tonight, Emma had found it while looking for blankets, so Linda locked her inside, to keep the secret, to keep her daughter. Last I heard, she'd moved 3 states away. Linda was institutionalized. Emma sleeps in my room now. Every night, I check the locks twice, 3 times. She still has nightmares about the closet, about Grandma's empty eyes, about the pictures on the wall. But she's safe, and Linda will never touch her again. I think about that call sometimes, that small, terrified voice. There's something in here with me. She'd been right. There was something in that closet with her. A ghost. A woman who died 38 years ago and never let go. I crushed that ghost the night I broke down that door. And I do it